Right, here we go. Hello, guys. Welcome. Austeris here with a Spellbreaker build. This time around, we're using Amarasta Blade Burst as a channeling skill, so without a cooldown, a cold damage. We're gonna be talking how this build played in early game, mid game, a late game, what it can do, what it can't do, what it can do, and all of that on ultimate difficulty. Since we're playing all the builds starting with the ultimate difficulty, solo self-found until level 94, and then taking some items from my Grim Dawn stash on in the end game. So here we go. What the game, what this build can do. It can kill Celestials. Mogodren went down pretty easily. It took me around 2 minutes to kill it. Kalagadra was next and took me like pretty normal time to kill the boss with a tier 2 build. That boss like around 8-10 minutes. Honestly, it was long. Same goes for Ravager, but Ravager had a potential to one-shot you. Kalagadra was much easier to manage. We could kill him, both of those, without dying, and we tried a crate boss, but because we're doing so much area damage and it's a melee build, but not much of actually dot damage for a crate, we managed to get the crate to half of his health with some shenanigans. Running twice two circles, but we produced too many crates to reliably kill the crate boss with this build. This build also have quite a good cleaning speed, a very good cleaning speed. One of the best there is cleaning speed there. I mean, the Amarasta Blade Burst is the area with 5.5 meter area, but then we have a Night Shield. And some cold damage on my Veil of Shadow, both of them 8 meters radius. So basically, when you're running, especially if you're going to be playing this build on normal difficulty, everything's going to be dying to you just because it is staying close to your auras. You don't, most of the time, you don't need to attack with your Blade Burst at all. Alright, so we're gonna be talking how the build behave in, like I say, in early game, what kind of skill to develop there, what kind of constellations, the gear. This build was kind of hard in terms of building, because there are so many options, so many items you can put on this build to change his behavior slightly in one way and another. We did try a couple of monster and frequent items in an end game, so this is not the perfect variant of this build. There is still so much to improve. For my mace, we never found the Alexa's Shield, Mystic Alexa's Shield mace, which is would be better. This is how this mace is looking like. Let me show you in a browser. Okay, Alexa, Mystic Alexa Shields, right? Have crit damage, offensive ability. It's getting all this Elemental Awakening, Star Pact, and Alexa Flash Freeze, which is just getting more damage for me. It have a lower cold damage than my current mace, but it also has some cold damage and first burn damage to start pack. So maybe with this mace we're gonna be killing Celestial faster. Maybe even have some decent chance against Great Boss. It's depending. So we're gonna be talking about that. I just never found this. This build also feature Alchemist rings, but we only were able to get blue one instead of purple versions. I only get like one purple here. So that's also could be make it better overall. And there's other variants for the builds. I'm gonna be briefly discussing those variants in the summary of the build. So what we're gonna be doing now, we're gonna be demonstrating how this build works in the Shattered Realm. Right, we dual wielding here. It's a melee build. We're gonna be jumping in Shattered Realm level 65 for now. So let's get this Celestial Waste on. Celestial Waystone, here we go.
Go on now.
And let's demonstrate how the build works here.
Eternity.
So I've been talking a little bit while in the Shadow Realm. Now I'm gonna be talking about skill rotation. So this build have Nemesis as the relic. Nemesis has a very pull on the skill, so it's doing some frost and cold damage. We have a Blade Spears, 1 point of Blade Spears, so they can use. They can use Elemental Storm from Rowari Crown constellation. So this build's doing okay against damage reflection shield over here. Alright. Doing just okay against damage reflection shield. We have around 14%, I believe, a Health Leech. So every attack we have here is Health Leech in. Right, every hit of that Amarasta Blaze Burst, because it has weapon attack in its description. The funniest thing to know about Amarasta Blade Burst, if you're playing this as dual wielding skill, it's attacking with offhand weapon, right? So you want to put the weapon with the best damage in your left hand, in your offhand, for maximum damage of the Amarasta Blade Burst, right? It's even saying in the description, offhand damage to 130. So that's thing to carry in mind. Again, so skill rotation for the build. We jump into fight with Ryuk wings, right? Getting some Phoenix fire. Every time we crit in here, we get an 100% chance to get Phoenix fire. It does have cooldown, however. We're reducing enemy resistances and immobilizing them with Flash Freeze. The Flash Freeze is a skill that giving your build so much survivability, because you're just freezing most of the enemies. Just freezing most of the enemies, and anything else is just not as big as problem after that. Okay, Archmage Alexander dead. So freeze with Alexa Flash Freeze, attack with Amarasta Blade Burst. Occasionally use my Pneumatic Burst to heal, while and continue keeping the buffs on, and Mirror of Aureoctus for that 3-second invulnerability. Enemies also getting the offensive ability reduced by getting closer into your aura, and they're taking a lot of damage by just staying nearby. So if I remove this Amarasta's Blade Burst here, right, not attacking with it, and just walking around here, you can approximately understand how much of damage that's gonna deal in. Right, I can like heal while walking, so that's a problem. That's one problem, I can't heal while just walking. Let's get back. It's enough to kill all normal monsters in a normal part of the ultimate difficulty, and kill the elites in seconds, just walking nearby them. It's way more potent like on normal difficulty. We're gonna be talking about the Night Chill in details for early game and stuff. Okay, boss fight. Over here, we don't gonna be pulling all the boss fights on me, but it's possible. I mean, we did kind of like face tank multiple bosses accidentally, because the Flash Freeze just pulling too much of them. All right.
Can't do that yet.
Okay, Sergus down. Okay, Gravasul is dangerous. Just his nullification. So just wait until he casts nullification. Okay, there goes nullification. And then just killing him. There we go. And the last boss over here. Some amount. So like a level 65, 66 Shadow Lamb is absolutely no problem for this build. We can kill everything super fast.
Well done.
And our survivability also good. Surprisingly good. Alright. We played before this Trickster and Witch Hunter. Both of them were featuring the Nightblade as a subclass. And both of them have like very poor survivability. So this build have much better, doing much better in this part. And the mirror of Areoctus is just helping tremendously. Plus the new sphere of protection, which is 24% damage absorption. Right, so that's a little bit of demonstration. Early game, what we do in early game, what kind of items we use in early game, we're gonna be talking about this next. Then gonna get overview of the build stats. Yes, we're doing it after early game. Then we're doing talking about end game, gear, constellations, and skills, and then summary about like some ideas how make it build better, and what kind of items we still were missing, and alternative variants of the build. Anyway, let's start early game. Early game for this build, there's tons of items you want for the early game for this build, and some of them pretty hard to get, like a Gurgle Gaze. We're gonna be starting with the skills first. Alright, the one, obviously it's a Amarasta Blade Burst. You want to get Amarasta Blade Burst as early as possible. You will have first and foremost, you will have the skill on cooldown. You only get a chance to get it off cooldown with Amarasta Crusher in after level 95. Before that, a skill has on its end hard cap, I believe 1.5 seconds cooldown. It's okay. You know, I didn't feel like we actually have a cooldown playing with this. So I played it with a shield. So all of this dual wielding blades techniques didn't do nothing for that. But the skill you actually want to level up as fast as possible. Either you play in ultimate or you play in normal difficulty, the Night Shield. So you want to like a couple of points in the Veil of Shadow to increase the radius of Night Shield, and then you just want to soft cap Night Shield. It's just tremendous boost of damage. So after this, hard capping Amarasta Blade Burst. Well, soft capping. Yeah, hard capping is a little bit harder. Soft capping Amarasta Blade Burst, getting Lethal Assault. It's a bonus damage, right? You want in Nightblade, you absolutely want Pneumatic Burst for early boost of offensive ability, and you don't want much of like in Shadow Dance, but you want quite a few points in Elemental Awakening for the first burn damage. However, before you get the first burn damage Elemental Awakening, I do suggest to get yourself the Flash Freeze, 1 point. 1 point just enough to minus resistance reductions, right? And you would have some Constellation to put, some active skills from Constellation to put on this. And more importantly, get the Sphere of Protection, at least to 15% damage absorption, and 1 point into Mirror of Areoctus. Then a little bit of Iskandar Elemental Exchange points. You're more interested in Overlord early on, against from offensive ability buff, so we can constantly, on ultimate difficulty, so we at least can constantly hit enemies without missing them. On normal difficulty, so we can crit them for quite a bit, right up to level 30, 35, that is. And you're interested in Star Pact after you get all of the other skills, right? And after that you get a Star Pact, you can gradually leveling up Elemental Awakening. All of these skill trees have been proceeded from hero to zero. In terms of items and skills we have in channel description, right? Just a look around for the videos of the whole playthrough of this build. And every video, day 1, day 2, day 3 video has a link to Grim Dawn tools with, well, where you can see what kind of skills we're using, like up until like a level of 40, for example, what kind of items we had in that solo self-found, and so on and so on. So we can help you to plan around your build, right? We play in, like I say, it's solo self-found up until 94. So we concentrated more on getting resistances for the build than anything. However, it's still useful to check out what kind of skills we use in there early game. Items. There's so many items this build, like I say, can use in early game. And it's probably better to show me in a browser. So let's see. First and foremost, you can easily get it. Like very easily get it. Radis Bulwark. If you just first play through for your character and you don't have like, any other characters to go and farm the shield for you, you just need to defeat a warden, and next game after the warden, in next act, you can find this Radlis boss. It's guaranteed dropping this the shield over here. So what it's doing? Cold damage to elemental exchange, call it the frostburn damage, flatten percentage. Minus cold resistance to Veil of Shadows, minus 10%, and minus 50% cold resistance to Alexa Flash Freeze. So you already have this Night Chill until you get when you get the shield, which is on soft calf, giving minus 25 cold resistance. It's tremendous boost to your like overall damage. Most of the enemies go in negative resistances all overall with this. And well, it's giving you additional points to Night Shield, so pretty useful, pretty useful. For rings, there's living rings you can farm in what it's called, Ashes of Melmoth DLC. It's just plus 3 to Iskander Elemental Exchange. But there's also a ring you want to get quite earlier. It's called. Do we have it here? Purtured Necklace. Okay, that's not it. That's another item we're gonna be talking about. The ring is. I don't see it here. So let's me open the browser. The ring called is a Velos ring, right? You can get it like from Velos of Corruptor. I do recommend to use the Grim Dawn tools to check on these items, and you always can check out from whom they drop in and where to find this guy here. So it's Defiles Devil Crossing, right into. You're just gonna get a quest for this guy. Just literally gonna get a quest from this guy to kill him. And his ring here, his ring over here, is giving you plus 3 to the blade burst. Some offensive defense, yes, it's giving acid damage, right? You can roll it with some good affixes for cold damage, but most importantly is this blade burst plus 3. It will be quite significant. This is a blade burst is area skill, and you do want to get it to hard cap. It's not a mana hungry at all, so it's cool. Next thing, which is quite hard to farm, would be a helmet.
I'll keep your stash safe.
Let me show you the helmet. It's a Gargoyle Gaze helmet. Dropping from a gargoyles in Forgotten Gods DLC. But the problem is there are so little gargoyles around. Like literally almost nothing. So the biggest concentration of gargoyle is before the Korvac fight. And in order to get to them you need to go into Hall's quest line in Forgotten Gods DLC. So the helmet itself giving you more cold damage to Blade Burst and Acid, and attack damage to health for the Blade Burst. Well, plus 2 skills as well, so I do recommend it for early game. There's
I'll keep an eye out.
a couple of gargoyles could be spawned over here. Like if you go into the Vanguard of 3, You go into one guard of 3. Sometimes there's 3 or 4 gargoyles spawning in this area altogether. We tried to farm
That
them, we got a
skill's not
helmet
ready.
from them, but we got the wrong helmet. I gave up after like 1 hour farming that. So like mind that, it's not easy to farm. The more easy to farm is Ilgur Eternal Curse medal. Alright, it's dropping guarantee from Ilgur. It's a boss on the 2nd level of Steps of Tournament, Skeleton Key Dungeon. Literally the first Skeleton Key Dungeon you're gonna be getting introduced to. And he is getting the Eternal Curse or as the medal. Right, you have 50% chance to drop it. So you want this one for weapon damage to a Metal Blade Burst. Like you see, we're using this medal even in end game, so we definitely want it early game as well. Then the standard thing for early game build is Legion Belt, right? +1 to Night Blade skills. Night Blade is like a main skill tree. This build is like so hungry for skills, alright? We're even using the Chain of Anguish on it. But anyway, +1 to Night Blade skills. And you can craft it like on level 35. The next one is level 15, level 70. So it's, you have a belt for Night Blade already. A relic on level 60 you can get Nemesis. What I was using on level 18 is Equilibrium for resistances. Up to level 60 because I just played an ultimate when we have all these negative resistances. But you obviously can use a different thing. Yeah, medals. I was just showing you this Pewtered Necklace of Zeal. It's Kandra Elemental Exchange +2. You can get it pretty early in the game. And the important part about this necklace is giving you that a lot of offensive ability from Skandra Elemental Exchange. I suppose you already have the flat offensive ability from Demotic Burst and Overlord. Otherwise, 8% from your 1000 offensive ability not gonna do like that much. So you need like, at least like 1700 something to see like something around like 100 offensive ability out of that. And that was helping me quite a bit before we get Helena Necklace. Helena Necklace is a reputation quest. Reputation quest from Devil's Cross Infection. Right, you need to kill this the first sleaze, Helena or Elena, and it's +1 to Nightblade and Star Pact, and more damage to Veil of Shadows, more Frostburn damage to Star Pact. It is pretty powerful. It's pretty powerful. I was contemplating if I want to use an end game. It's definitely an option for end game. So did I forget anything? I have all these items here in the browser listed, or more or less. So there's Ascendant Shoulder Guards. We never ended using this one because the build was performing super exceptionally well on for melee build on mid game and late mid game and early game. Like I say, I was running, everything was almost dying from my aura. And then the Blade Burst would kill everything, and I would freeze anything else that I would not kill immediately. So survivability and cleaning speed was exceptionally well for ultimate solo self-found, and that's saying a lot. But yeah, we never needed essential parts, but so potential items for +3 to elemental exchange over here. Gargoyle Helmet, I mentioned it. Bulwark, I mentioned it. Living Ring, I mentioned it. Let's see, Elena Necklace, we already talked about this. Ilgrid Necklace, we already talked about this. And that's technically all. That's actually technically all that you can, well, easily or hard try to get like hard, depending on your RNG, depending on luck for early game. Moving on, starts of the build. So you saw the demonstration how the build works, but we never talked about stats. Alright, we have 17k health over here. Most of my attribute points went into physique because I'm playing on ultimate all the time, and it's just more protection, defensive ability, more health. But I did put quite a few points into Spirit, 28 points, 0 points in Cunning. So Spirit for more damage. So we reach like offensive ability 3600, thanks to this set of Alchemist rings. And defense ability to 2600, but it's just, you saw it's absolutely enough for face tanking. Not exactly face tanking everything in Shattered Realm, but face tanking most of the thing. You still need to be careful. You still need to be keeping the fingers on the mirror of Octus. It also, like when we fought Calagadra, he could hit me once for something like 40% of my health, but never like one-shotted me. DPS is 180k, but we always getting more DPS when starting like spinning my, getting Lethal Assault over here, so it's 209k DPS, which is majority with first burn damage. We got the Curse of Anguish over here. Yeah, so 31 first burn damage, 100k hit with a Murder Blade Burst over here. What else? Resistance, slight in resistance, 76%. Over maximum, that's good enough for actually face tanking Mogadran, because we also get in minus 33 elemental resistance with Chain of Anguish periodically. For Mogadran fight, I recommend to use a Shroud of Storm Shroud Ornament. This is that compensated with 30 light and resistance. Armor rating on a low here, 1780 with 100% armor absorption. Next, poison, piercing resistance, bleeding resistance, vitality resistance, ether, chaos, and physical 22. 22% is a minimum physical. 20% that I was talking about previously. It's minimum percentage of physical resistance you want for most of the build on ultimate difficulty in the current meta, despite they reducing the physical damage greatly. But it's in actuality is very lesser because it's minus 12 resistance reduction from Anguish. Anguish belt actually was working pretty well here. Yeah, I didn't feel like I have it late game. When we just switched it to the build, yes, I did feel that we have Anguish, and we even died because of Anguish in Shattered Realm 65. However, when we get all the powders, all the components, it was way better. So attack speed 148%, not really that good. All right, there's a point of improvement. Critical strike 60%. Health regen doesn't really matter much. Energy regen doesn't really matter much for this build. What matter is our cooldown reduction 12%. Don't have much of cooldown, but it's influence in the mirror of Reactors. So cold damage, almost 3400%, and frostburn damage, almost 38% over here. That's what does matter. And obviously stun resistance, 59%, just enough for that fight with the Mogadran. So we're using Runebound Topaz for this additional stun resistance 10. Freeze resistance 80 from a gear. And another thing that does matter is highest damage dealt, right? We died quite a bit on Great Boss, even to the maggots, so our total death is that high, but it was easier, like I said, normal mid-game, late mid-game, early game was pretty easy to not to die. With flash freeze and everything dying. If you're playing on normal difficulty, you're just gonna be breezing through the game altogether. Anyway, damage dealt so far, highest crit is 450k, which is not bad. We continuously critting here for over the 100k with the Blade Burst, right? Over the 100k, 150k. So it's a good damage in my book. That's a stat overview. Jump into the items. Among all potential items and potential possibilities we are presented with, I decided to go actually with after a long consideration and deliberation, it was a Mage Slayer set. So the helmet giving you that +1 to Arcanist and Nightblade. Which is, like I say, the build itself very hungry for skills. So many skills points you still have and can use on. The set itself giving you additional minus elemental resistance to Veil of Shadow and minus cold resistance to Alexa, 18% to Alexa Flash Freeze. Altogether, we have way over the 100 resistance reduction, minus cold resistance reduction for. So if not counting resistance reductions you're getting from Alexa Freeze, we have a minus 107, right? With your Night Shield, Constellations, alright, 2 Constellations, and oh my god, well, and that's all basically. Yeah, minus 107. With okay, Night Shield and Veil of Shadow. Veil of Shadow also has minus resistance on it. So it's 107, but we still didn't figure out if Flash Freeze, this cold resistance happening when we actually freezing the targets, meaning this will not work on targets that can be freeze like Celestials, or it's happening nonetheless, right? Because we know the fire resistance reduction, which is native to Flash Freeze over here, like minus like this 68 fire resistance, is happening only when you freeze an enemy with a Flash Freeze. So I suspect this could be applying to cold resistance as well, but it will be like make no sense as well. So basically what I'm saying, we have a way over the maximum, or over what we need for cold resistance reduction. Anyway, Mage Storm, we're using Living Armor on it, elemental resistance, offensive ability, armor absorption, right? And next piece is Shoulder Guards. Shoulder Guards, I'll be using another Living Armor on it, right? And then goes Mage Slayer Amulet. This is giving you that 8% minus elemental resistance for Veil of Shadow, right? And cold damage for Flash Freeze, which is actually okay. It's dealing some damage, Frostburn damage, Flash Freeze, like just casting Flash Freeze could actually kill a bunch of enemies and so on. Last pieces of the set is the gloves here. The gloves, Night Shield, Absolute Zero. So that's the whole Mage Slayer. We're gonna be talking about alternative set or alternative build in summary section. We're using here Unholy Inscription for this. Unholy Inscription for well, attack damage converted to health. I didn't mention this in the start, but attack damage converted to health should be 14% lifesteal. Okay, I didn't mention it during the demonstration, did I? Also, for the medal, we're using like Vengeful Wrath here. Vengeful Wrath, and as augment, we're using Artep's Glare. It's a Cult of Bismal augment. Defensive ability, health, and flat cold damage. Flat cold damage is very good for this build. Because Amarasta Blaze Burst using actually weapon damage, and all this flat damage going to the weapon damage. So that's we're using this augment on all Javeries, on the rings as well. I mean, Vengeful Wrath is giving you offensive ability and some cold damage. So we're using for Medallion, we're using like Arcane Spark, but it's probably would be better to use our Vengeful Wrath here as well. We're not locking any offensive ability by replacing this. If we do using a Rune of Dark Progenitor, on which I put the Phoenix Shield constellation. But yeah, Ilgor's Eternal Curse, we're using off attack for more, well, offensive ability here. And Rune Curve giving me that elemental damage along the way. So it's good affixes. It's good affixes for all here. Rings is something like very hard to farm. I'm gonna be talking about alternative rings altogether. There's actually quite a few of them. I was trying to get a purple version. We farm the 7 or 8 times we went to the steps of tournament, and we managed to get the blue version, which is still giving me quite a few offensive ability points, and did increase my overall damage compared to other sets by 10k DPS, not overall damage. So that was good. So yeah, Alchemist tournament, Misery of Alchemist, if using Runebound Topaz on both of them for that stun resistance. Alright, this is how the second ring look like, all the same. Next, the important part of the build is Amarasta Crusher, which is make this Amarasta Blade Burst channeling skill. Alright, it's removing all the cooldown from it, 100% skill cooldown reduction, and more critical damage. Well, less weapon damage, but we're okay. I was contemplating, do we want to do it, or do we not, right, up until the very last, because I wanted to go to do something like Alexa Chill with the Glacial, the Radius Bulwark. It was also an option. We're using the Cold Stone as component here, just for the buff, 75 cold damage and flat cold damage. It's very much. For the augment, we're using Cowen's Guile. On the Bog augment, cold damage and elemental damage. 10% elemental resistance, or say. So elemental resistance I needed for lightning to get my lightning resistance close to 80% as possible. Right, so when we're using the Storm of Shroud, we don't care about the debuff from Anguish. Speaking of Anguish, like I see we're using Chain of Anguish here, for +1 to all skills, a little bit of all damage, and additional attack damage converted to health, offensive ability, total speed. It has pretty nasty debuff. This is, I call it debuff, but it's actually a negative buff, right? So the idea, I have this genius idea, and anytime like we get in the Anguish, I can remove it with my nullification. It did not work, right? Anguish happened here in the buff section, right? Nullification not removing buffs, it's removing debuffs that happen in this debuff section. So mind you, using a laser here on the Bog laser for poison and bleeding resistance. So far, like I say, in endgame, I didn't feel like we were in this Chains of Anguish, so it was working perfectly fine for me. The offhand weapon, I didn't mention that Amarasta Blade Burst using the damage from offhand weapon rather than the primary weapon, and it's giving a more cold damage, so it's actually, you can see the difference in DPS over here, 167k and 180k when we replace the weapons. So it's alternative for to this, actually what I wanted to play with, alternative to mystical Alexa Chill, which you never found, and it's performing pretty well for me. I used to have I used to find it on lower difficulty, the Beacons of Winter Vale. On lower difficulty, I mean on lower level, on level 58, and then we get in level 94 here. So it's frostburn damage, cold damage, minus cold resistance to Alexa Fresh Freeze, and some cold and frostburn damage to Iskander Elemental Exchange. It's also giving me 8% to health, so I'll take it. For component, we're using Cold Stone here again, and for argument here, we're using actually a different one, the Soil's Glare from Cult of Soils for that extra piercing resistance and health. Health kind of important, right? So if I didn't need to fight Mogadran, I would use both of these Cult of Soils arguments in both of my weapons. What else to talk here with? The boots. Boots are a boost of Primordial Rage, offensive ability, health, physical resistance, and elemental damage. Pretty good for a purpose, right? It does have Ether Blazing. I didn't mention the skill, the Winter Veils on my mace. It was pretty good, like additional cold damage with some orbs rotating around you. So boots we're using a Mark of Mogadren, obvious components. I already show you the medal. A relic, Nemesis. Nemesis we get pretty lucky with bonus completion, +1 Shade of Dance and Little Assault, especially Little Assault. Pants is Death Whisper Leggings. Right, this is the one that giving you that +2 Amarasta Blaze Burst and Little Assault, a little bit of offensive ability and cold damage. We're using a Scale Hide for getting this armor rating to 100%. And lastly, the breastplate. First, Dread of Crassus, flat cold damage, percentage of health, vitality, bleeding resistance, Amarasta Blade Burst, and the Star Pack. I really wish to have more points in Star Pack, but alas. So he has the first Dread Presence, right, which is buffing you for flat cold damage, and percentage to cold and first burn damage is also pretty powerful, adding to my overall damage here. We're using Titan Platinum on it because I wanted to get a reflection damage reduction. It was very dangerous without reflection damage reduction. We get it to 3% here with the Titan Platinum. We're still taking some damage when we attacking enemies into reflection shield. Oh my god, I can't find it. But we can Health Leech. Without this 33%, there's a good chance it can like one-shot me. Well, getting very close to one-shotting me. And there's also that huge dots. So we need to like either not to attack this. Be careful not to attack the damage reflection. But your pets and auras can attack them nonetheless. Or you need to apply nullification right after you kill the guy. You do, believe me, you do want to get this Titan Platinum for that 33%. I actually was contemplating if I want another Titan Platinum on my helmet, but we settled on that 33% is just working fine if you're careful enough. So that was the gear. Skill points. Skill points, you already like saw a bunch of this in early game, but let's reiterate again. The build, like I mentioned before, very hungry for the skill points. There's so much things I still want to put my skill points onto. But yeah, main points: Night Shield, Veil of Shadow, and Soft Cap. So I have like 8-meter radius of it. I can reach a bunch of enemies with my Night Shield. We have 1 point into Phantasmal Armor, 1 point into Merciless Repertoire. Both of them I would like to get at least a Soft Cap. We have all the points in Elemental Awakening for additional first burn damage, elemental damage, all the points in Thermotic Burst for that offensive ability and Health Leech. 1 point into a Shade of Dance because I didn't deem it like that necessary. Obviously, Amarasta Blade Burst, the main skill here, so we have all the points on Amarasta Blade Burst. I used a Rumor as a skill trigger on Amarasta Blade Burst. So we have 50% chance to get in that minus offensive ability for enemy and minus, more importantly, cold resistance. Lethal Assault also happening every time for 8 seconds, that flat cold damage and percentage to cold damage. 1 point into dual wielding for this 4% resistances, and we actually dual wielding. And I really want to get it like higher, like Soft Cap giving you 10% physical resistance, so that'll be cool. Same as the Blade Spirits. Additional Blade Spears that can proc. We have the Elemental Storm of Blade Spears, flat elemental reduction, 32%, 32 points flat reduction, and the Blade Spears have a cold damage partially, so they're scaling with your cold damage, which is pretty good. Obviously, having them on 16 level will be better than having them on level 1. No points. Arcanist. I did level up inner focus to 12 to Soft Cap to get this additional offensive ability. We actually probably can take 2 more points out of it because we have enough offensive ability even for celestial fights, and put them somewhere else, like in elemental balance. Myth's Protection, 24 point absorption, 1 point into conversion. Soft Cap for Iskander Elemental Exchange, well, 12 plus 2. Overlord same, and we look missing 1 point in elemental balance over here. Star Pact I was talking pretty cool skill. Cooldown reduction, cold damage, first burn damage, yes, thank you. 1 point Alexa Flash Freeze, 1 plus 7. It dealing some damage, it's dealing resistance reduction as well as freezing enemies, and there's absolute 0 for more first burn damage on those enemies as well. So it is kind of good. It is kind of good for 99% of gameplay. I also want way more points in the Arcane Wheel, but I only put 1. It's, in my opinion, a very powerful defensive skill, and it's also triggering on very high health. Alright. Have a nullification at 1 point to just remove some effect here and there. It's kind of criminal not having nullification while playing in Arcanist, to tell you the truth. People usually having getting it to level 5, usually. Well, again, too many points to spend. So that's skills. That's the skills altogether. Constellations, right? We were talking about already how my resistance reduction are so numerous. It's going like way above 100. So Constellation, since it's cold damage, is elemental type of damage. We're using here a standard approach with early game, when we get in the quill, when we get in the candle, right, and we get in right into elemental storm for a Warrior Crown. So I would put elemental storm on blade spirits. That's why we're having that 1 point into them. The next thing that I want to climb right after is Mistress of Rumors, to get the rumor, to level up rumor as fast as possible for that minus cold resistance. So this one I have an Armored Blade Burst, just have a better chance, because it's like channeling skill, have a better chance to proc it when I constantly attacking. For Mister of Rumors to activate, we obviously need something like Tsunami, 5 points into Tsunami. We have the skill I put on Alexa Fresh Freeze. It's activating decently often, so that's why we're getting this additional Frostburn damage for Flash Freeze. I wish I can put it like somewhere else, right? That's first burn damage, but we're really lacking of impossible skills to use. We have Lion Constellation, we had a Harpy Constellation. I did have earlier on a Jackal Constellation, but we replaced it by putting reshuffle Constellation after we get 55 points from my Crossroads and from Jackal into Amatok, the Spirit of Winter, so which is better, especially due to them frostburn damage, cold damage and stuff. We have also Phoenix Constellation, right? Phoenix for a little bit of elemental damage. We're getting Phoenix Fire on my rune, so every time I jam in with my heroic wings and Cretin, I get in this, it does have 7-second durations and second cooldown, but Cretin getting me this flat 188 damage absorption, which is significant in Shadow Realm. We have Arcane Barrier, right? Well, it's not that significant. It's just Crab Constellation provided me enough points that I needed for Leviathan. Alright. In fact, I'm just seeing. Do I forgot to remove? Okay, never mind. Didn't forget to remove the Crossroads Constellation. We're good. So yeah, it has Arcane Barrier, which is not really that important, but it's giving me quite a few points to flat elemental damage and percentage elemental damage and some resistances altogether. So yeah, I'll take it. And finally, culmination of all of this Leviathan. Alright. With also defensive stats, physical resistance, and cold damage flat, frostburn damage flat, and Whirlpool, which is additional frostburn damage, which is we put on a Manticore, on my Nemesis pet. It's unkillable, same as Blade Spears, but Nemesis has a way better reach than Blade Spears, so it's attacking constantly and applying this periodically cold damage and first burn damage. That's constellations. Alright, the summary. Summary, like I say, first of all about alternative builds. Alternative builds, alternative items for this.
I'll keep your stash safe.
Right, so there's the boots. There's gloves, as I say. If you didn't use the Mage Slayer hood, Mage Slayer set here, there's a potential of using this Icecon Talons. More Frostburn damage. Amarasta Blade burns some Frostburn damage altogether. Maybe it's actually gonna work better against Crate Boss, this setup. Right, you get in this, the gloves, you get in like the Varieties Bulwark. Alright, you get in the Gargoyle Gaze, for example. Elena Necklace for that cold damage. For Veil of Shadow, Frostburn damage for Star Pact. Alright, which is added to your Frostburn damage. The alternative set of rings, if you don't have Alchemist rings, don't have purple Alchemist rings, there is this Band of Eternal Hound that you can craft. Right, it's have -10 cold resistance, 10% chance on attack. And there's also the set here, Elemental Harmony. It is worse in terms of damage and offensive ability than Alchemist set, but nonetheless it is something to consider because it's giving you some little assault, some Sub-Zero or Absolute Zero, Flash Freeze and Blade Burst, the points you really need, and a little bit of defensive ability when you get the full set. So it's easier to get than this one for sure.
I'll keep.
There's if you're not using Mage Slayer set, there's 3 pieces of a set you can use from. Do I have it here? Let me see. Okay, there's a Silver Sentinel set, some kind of alternative. You do want the 3 pieces for minus cold resistance, but then you're forced to wear the mask, which is kind of bad. The Gargoyle Helmet is just better. The 2 pieces just not cutting for it, but it is alternative. It is alternatives. Having the shoulder guns, especially having some cold damage and Amarasta Blade Burst, so have some can find some points out of it. We already talked about Mystical Alexa Shield as a preferable weapon for offhand. Preferable weapon is, I think, it will be performing better than my current mace. All right. Also, like Dread Sigil of Alchemos, which is a purple version of my blue Alchemos set. There is for a medal we can use a Mystical Undying Oath, the flat cold damage, and well, probably all, right? Just flat cold damage and some percentage cold damage, skill recharge and cold damage to Pneumatic Burst as well. But well, for the belt instead of Anguish, there is a Spellbreaker Waistguard. Right, Spellbreaker Waistguard is basically giving you the same bonuses as Anguish, a little less like cold damage, a little less crit and same offensive ability, and +1 to Night Blade instead of +1 to all. So missing +1 on Arcanist. But if you fear to get Anguished, that's the best alternative there is. Okay, instead Iskandar Nullification, that's alternative set I was thinking about. There's another one as well. So 3 pieces giving you 12% physical resistance, 4 pieces giving you +2 to Arcanist as well. And what do you want from those 2 pieces? So you can get the medal, you probably can get shoulder guards, you probably can get the chest armor, everything except the offhand, I guess. Alright, and even helmet could be justifiable to get this +2 to Arcanist, could be justifiable. So that's all in combination for in conjunction with
Keep an eye on this.
those items I show you. The talons, necklace, right? You always can use the living ring with a good affixes, like this have a cold damage, elemental damage, a scandal elemental exchange, if you never found any of these rings. So it is something. It is something. The build performed especially well early game, late game, mid game, right? Just like clean and speed survivability, very good. Do mind it. A lot of survivability of this build depended on you being able to freeze the target. For example, I did burn pretty badly on Chupacabra fights. Even late game, the early late game, and we just changed into my items. Didn't like get all the components. I went to face tank the Chupacabra, and he just killed me. He just killed me also mid game as well on level like 70 something. Because Chupacabra can be freezed, and he dealing quite a bit of damage with his burst, so it's better like to kite him, more kite than face tank him. Just need to get the right timing for when you kite in, when you tank in, and when you actually dealing the damage. That thing to be mindful for. All the way, like cleaning speed, like I say, is extremely fast. And because of the flash freeze, most enemies just dying before they even able to attack you. That's like that's why it's probably survivability so much. Well, we also have the sphere of protection, 24% of resistance reduction. So mind you that's adding alongside with 70k health, adding a lot to survivability, and 14% health leech on every attack I do with the blade burst. I had a lot of fun playing this build, and a lot of fun actually, a lot of headache, rather to say, not a fun headache between choosing items for end game because how many options we actually have, and also it's pretty hard to farm the headgear, the piece for gargoyle gaze, and obviously alchemist rings. Pretty hard because alchemist rings cannot be transmuted, and the percentage drop is very low too for purple ring, like 3 point something and 2 point something. And what else to say? What else? Great boss. I was kind of already suspecting will not be able to kill a great boss because we'll create a lot of mini crates. Just walking around great boss with my auras. Yeah. So it's not a crate killer, not in this configuration at least. Could be possible, like I say, with some gear changes that I propose. Nonetheless, guys, thank you very much for joining me, for watching all to the end. And I really do appreciate it if you press the subscribe button for YouTube channel. That's going to be helping us a lot produce more videos for Grim Dawn and motivate me to do more quality videos as well and do something else. We're currently struggling to get to 1,000 subscribers, so like I said, it will be very, very appreciated of your help with that one press of button. See you next video, and see you next time chat as well. We're done with